Hi, my name's Kurt. Welcome to 7 Best Things. Today I'm counting down the 7 best lines in the movie Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow. Let's go. Number 7, the Merchant of Death. One of the most important characters in the movie Iron Man is also one of the most overlooked. Christine Everhart, played by Leslie Bibb. Christine plays the same role in Iron Man that Jiminy Cricket plays in Pinocchio. She is the conscience of Tony Stark. She appears 3 times in the movie. Once in the beginning, once in the middle, and once at the end. And each time she's there to ask one important question to Tony Stark. Who are you? And that's what this movie will endeavor to ask in the next 126 minutes. It will endeavor to answer the question, who is Tony Stark? Is he the greatest genius, the Da Vinci of our time? Or is he the second nickname that Christine Everhart mentions, the Merchant of Death? Tony's the greatest genius of the MCU. He should be the Da Vinci of our time. But instead, he has decided to sell his weapons and become the Merchant of Death and make money in that way. But he's not satisfied with his life. He's not focused on anything. He lacks meaning in his life. He knows he should be much more, but he is stuck in adolescence. He is unable to harness his great genius to do the great good that, well, he knows he should be doing. He has the potential to be the greatest hero in the entire MCU, or the greatest villain. Number 6, that's the way Dad did it. Tony is trying to live up to the legacy of his father, Howard Stark. At the testing of the Jericho missile, he invokes his father once more. The best weapon is the one you only have to fire once. That's the way Dad did it, that's the way America does it, and it's worked out pretty well so far. One of the main characters in this movie is one that never speaks a line, and that is Howard Stark. Howard Stark is one of the most important figures in the MCU. He is the co-creator of its 2 greatest heroes, Captain America and Iron Man. We get an overview of Howard's life and his legacy at the awards ceremony, and we learn there that his life has been tragically cut short. And so has his influence on Tony. Tony was never able to fully develop into the man he was supposed to be because, well, the influence of his father was cut short. Tony works on the hot rod, but he never finishes his work. If you'll notice carefully in the laboratory, there's a picture of Tony and his dad working on the hot rod together. That hot rod is a symbol of their unfinished relationship. It's also the screensaver on Tony's computer. Tony is stuck in adolescence. He's not able to move forward, and he's unable to claim the legacy that his father has left him. Number 5, a very important week. With the absence of his mother and his father, Tony needs someone to mentor him, to help him grow up and reach his full potential. He meets that person in a cave. Ho Yinsen, played by Tony Shalhoub, becomes the mentor that Tony needs. It is Ho Yinsen that teaches Tony about being a hero, who opens his eyes to his true potential. Yinsen also opens Tony's eyes to his real legacy. Not a legacy of greatness, but a legacy of death. Tony's in despair. He says, well, they're probably going to kill both of them, and even if they don't, well, he's going to be dead within a week anyway. To which Yinsen replies with words of inspiration. Well then, this is a very important week for you, isn't it? Immediately we cut to the scene of Tony hammering out the Iron Man armor. Tony realizes he's lost everything. He's lost his money, he's lost his cars, he's lost his women, he's even lost his freedom. But he does have one thing. He has 1 week. One very important week. And with Yinsen's help, he's going to change everything. You see, this cave is the cave of transformation. It is where Tony Stark transforms from playboy to Iron Man, from a boy who plays to a man of iron. And it all starts with one very important week. You know, the average person with an average lifespan has about 4,000 weeks total. That's all we've got. But it only takes 1 week to change your life. I think we can all learn something from Jensen's words. Every week can be a very important week. Number 4, tears of joy. One of the elements that makes Iron Man such a great movie is the romantic chemistry between Robert Downey Jr. and Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow is such a great actress. When Tony is hobbling out of that C-130 after being rescued, the look on her face says everything you need to know about what's going on in her heart. And then the fun really begins. They begin trading quips, just like Hepburn and Tracy in their prime. When Tony asks if she's been crying about what had happened to her boss, she quickly replies, "Tears of joy. I hate job hunting." I love their interactions and the verbal sparring they go back and forth with towards one another. You know, Pepper is the only person who can do this kind of verbal sparring with Tony, not only in this movie, but in the entire MCU. She seems to be the only one who can give it back to him just as quickly as he gives it. And that's what makes the relationship so much fun to watch. And it'll be great to see their relationship develop over the next 12 years. Number 3, we're Ironmongers. Jeff Bridges really brings it as Obadiah Stane. He is both the genial, Segway-riding, cigar-chomping CEO, as well as the evil, ruthless mastermind who doesn't think twice about betraying and then murdering his best friend. He's willing to do both, and he lays out Tony's choices for him precisely. You see, when Tony starts to develop a conscience and starts to believe that they shouldn't be making weapons, Obadiah Stane realizes that he has to talk Tony out of that. "Tony, we're weapons manufacturers. We are ironmongers. That's what we do." He lays out Tony's choice precisely. He can become Ironmonger, the world's most destructive villain, or he can become Iron Man, the world's greatest hero. Obadiah is Tony's alter ego, his dark side, his shadow, his other self. He is exactly who Tony Stark will become if Tony Stark does nothing and simply continues on his current path. Ironmonger or Iron Man? Which one will the Playboy choose? Number 2, there is nothing else. When Tony goes into the cave, he goes in as a playboy, a boy who plays at life. He emerges as a man of iron, a man with an iron will, a man with an intense focus. He now knows exactly what he must do in his life. And this intense focus is best seen in a scene with Pepper in his workshop towards the end of the movie. He's asking Pepper to go on a mission for him. Pepper is realizing that Tony is starting to put himself in danger once again, and she starts to protest. But Tony immediately interrupts. There is nothing except this. There is no art opening. There is no benefit. There is nothing to sign. There is nothing except the next mission. Robert Downey Jr. is phenomenal in this movie. He does a spectacular job of bringing Tony Stark to life. He is funny, he is engaging, he is fun to watch, and he is at all times charming, except in this scene. In this one particular scene, Robert Downey Jr. is at his least charming. Perhaps the least charming he will ever be in all of the MCU movies. He is intense, he is serious, he is mission-minded, and he is focused. This is no boy playing at life. This is a man on a mission, a man with an iron will. Number 1, I am Iron Man. The movie ends with a press conference, and guess who's in the front row of the press conference? In a light gray suit, so she stands out from every other reporter at the press conference. That's right, it's Tony's conscience, Christine Everhart. And Christine is there to ask the one question she's been asking for the last 126 minutes. Who is Tony Stark? And perhaps the best way to answer that question is by saying who Tony Stark is not. He is not a playboy. He is no longer a boy who plays with toys. He is not the Merchant of Death. No, he's given up that identity. He's closed down the weapons division of Stark's Industries. And he is no longer Ironmonger. Ironmonger has been defeated, Obadiah Stane to be sure, but more importantly, the temptation to become Ironmonger, Tony has resisted it and stayed true to who he is. So who is Tony Stark? Well, you know the answer to that. You know the line. One of the most famous lines to close any movie ever. The truth is, I am Iron Man. Roll the credits. Thanks for joining me on 7 Best Things. So glad you could make it. Feel free to like and subscribe and check out the other videos on this channel. Thanks, and have a great day.